Hello again. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and today we're going to be talking about IP blacklisting or banning within WordPress. Now, I've been getting a lot of crap from some people about doing all these WordPress videos. One of the things that I'm going to tell you, as a professional, it's a secret between us, is a lot of the theory about how you do things and things like security and maintenance and management and all of that translates to other platforms. So when I am talking to you guys about how to do security in WordPress, the things that we discuss here also work when you're dealing with Linux servers or when you're dealing with Windows servers or when you're dealing with other software as a service. I am telling you guys a lot of times about WordPress because, again, I use WordPress in the real world. I make real money off of WordPress, and so I'm trying to show you guys real world examples of things. And since I am running WordPress in the real world, a lot of times I show you WordPress, but the things that I am showing you translate to other platforms, other systems, and all of that kind of stuff. So the problem came a couple of days ago when I realized that somebody was trying to do a brute force attack against my WordPress site. So what brute force attacks are is when basically people start hammering the login system for your site or for your system, and they just keep trying to hit it until they find the right combinations of usernames and passwords. Now, again, if you sat down and you tried to type out usernames and passwords to try to break into a system, you couldn't do it. You would die before you typed out all the possible iterations. But if you have a computer system hammer away at another computer system, they can go through thousands or millions of username or password combinations very, very quickly. So something called a brute force attack is basically that's what hackers do, is they point their systems at another system and then they hammer away as fast as possible with username and password combinations trying to find one that works. And that's why it's called brute force, is it's literally brute force attack. So I found the other day somebody was trying to do a brute force attack against my WordPress site. And so the problem then comes up is that this has a number of issues in the modern world. So in the old days, we're talking about 2011, right? When we talk about 2011, in the old days, basically what used to happen is if somebody used a username and then they plugged in a password 3 or 4 times, then you would simply lock out the account. So if I had like eli.etherton and that was my Active Directory username, if somebody typed in eli.etherton and then a random password 3 or 4 times, it would lock the person out, right? Well, here's the issue, is when that is done in a local environment, then the administrator, it's very easy for the administrator to deal with because they can very easily unlock that account, so on and so forth. They can do other security precautions. But the question then happens is, what about in the web world? What about when anybody in the world can literally try to access your website and type in those credentials? Well, what you can have happen if you do security by that old mentality, as in somebody tries to log in 3 times and then you lock the account, well, what a hacker can now do is something called a denial of service attack, right? So somebody can literally just try to figure out what your username is and then purposely try to log in 3 times knowing that it won't work, and then that locks you out of your system. So let's say I put in some kind of security policy that stated if I try to log into if any user tries to log into the system more than 5 times with an incorrect password, it will lock them out. Now imagine somebody could be sitting in Italy, try to figure out everybody's usernames, literally start plugging in those usernames, run them up to 5 times until it gets locked out. Well, now not only are they locked out, but the actual the user that would be using that account is locked out, and then they have to call me up, and then we have to unlock their account and do all this mess. So it's really, really, really tedious. So what they have come up with now for the modern world is you tie not the username to locking out somebody from a system, but their actual IP address, right? So I don't want the system to necessarily lock out eli.etherton, but if somebody is trying to log in from a specific IP address, I want the system to be able to blacklist or ban that IP address so they can't continue to log in. So if somebody at one IP address tries to log in 5 times and it fails, that IP IP address gets banned, not the username. So then me, when I try to log in from my own personal IP address, I will be able to log in and it'll be all fine. So let's go over to the computer so I can kind of show you how all this works. So again, I've got my WordPress site up on my dedicated server. Now, one of the things I'm going to show you first is our auditing system. And again, this is one of those important things in the world of security, is if you do not have an auditing system, how do you know when somebody is trying to hack? Right? Again, a lot of noobs, they just think like, I don't know, if you're like a senior level systems administrator, I don't know, you just have like this spidey sense and you automatically know when somebody's trying to hack the system. But in reality, what senior level administrators really do, what we spend a lot of our time doing, is looking through system logs. So basically we look through these system logs, and those system logs show us what's going on. So the systems logs show us when people try to log in, they're not able to log in. System logs show when resources, too many resources are used and all that kind of stuff. So when we have some kind of auditing system, a logging system, we can look at those logs to try to figure out what's going on, and that allows us to troubleshoot the process. So the first thing, and again, this is applicable for anything, whether you're dealing with WordPress sites or Active Directory or any of that, is make sure you have a robust logging or auditing system so that when you do run into problems, then you can actually go back and try to figure out what's going on, or so you can actually take a look at what's going on and you may be able to find a problem. So let's go over to our computer so I can kind of show you what's going on here. So this is the auditing system for geekbraindump.com, and basically anything that happens on geekbraindump.com, this system logs. So when somebody tries to log in and it fails, it logs that fact. When somebody saves a page, so Joey Grazano was doing something and he saved a page, so it logs that fact along with their IP address. When he publishes a post, it logs. So basically I can go in here and I have a very, very good idea of what's going on. And so when I went in here the other day, I started seeing this massive list for somebody trying to break into Geekbrain admin. So we can see the failed login, we can see the time when it was done, and we can see the IP address. And so with the IP address, we can even click on this thing and try to figure out where it is in the world. So look, so somebody from Kansas City apparently was trying to break into the account. So I can make sure this wasn't me, you know, it's like, I don't know, was I drunk logging in or something? I can click on this and go, oh no, it's not in Maryland anywhere. Okay, I can see somebody is trying to break into the system. And so the question then becomes, what do I do about that? And it can be a really difficult thing. And so one of the issues that you run into is, again, with hackers are relatively smart. And so if you block one IP address manually, let's say you go into the firewall, and let's say that's the old-fashioned way. I don't know, 2003, what they would do in 2003. You would go into the firewall and you would actually manually block this IP address right here. Well, the issue is using proxy servers and all that kind of stuff right now, literally the hacker can switch IP addresses faster than you can plug the new IP address into the firewall. So you're going to burn up your entire day plugging in new IP addresses to block, and it's just going to be a pain in the butt. So what I've used for geekbraindump.com, what I added is this particular plugin called IP Blacklist. And so what IP Blacklist does is it automatically does the blacklisting process. And the interesting thing with this automatic blacklisting is again, where I tell you I'm showing this for WordPress, but I've seen Python scripts where you can actually use this for your entire Linux server. So there are a lot of products out there that will do the same type of thing for other pieces of software. So basically what this does is anytime it sees like a maximum number of failed logins, it automatically will then block the IP address. So I don't have to worry about it. When somebody logs in tries to log in a certain number of times and it fails, it will then simply block the IP address, not the username. Again, important to realize is the IP address, not the username. So one of the first questions that comes up is how many attempts do you want before it blocks an IP address? And so you can see I set this a little high, so I set this at 10. Again, one of the reasons that I did this is because in the real world, right, in the real world of technology, you always have to balance things, right? There is the security policies that you learned in college, and then there's security policies you want in the real world if you want to stay sane. And so, you know, in college you will hear like, well, it should only be 3 login attempts before you're locked out. The problem is in the real world, a lot of people forget their passwords, and a lot of people are are fat-thumbed and all that kind of stuff. There have been times I've plugged in my password like 6 or 7 times and realized like the cap lock was on. So one of the things I don't want to do by creating a system like this is add more work to myself. I don't want my authors, I don't want my users all of a sudden accidentally locking themselves out of their own damn accounts and then emailing me and complaining and going through all of that, you know, customer service nightmare. So what I did is I set the maximum attempts to 10. So again, this is a lot higher than you would see for most security policies or whatnot, but you know, 10 is okay. If you don't get it in 10, you really don't know what's going on, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get it in 3, you might just be having an episode of stupid. But if you don't get it in 10, that probably means somebody's doing a brute force attack. Or you just need to go to bed. So the first thing is the maximum attempts. Again, I would set it at something like 10. You would have to make your decision on what it should be. And then the time limit for maximum attempts. So the question is within what time limit? So 10 attempts within 1 minute, 10 attempts within 60 minutes, 10 attempts within 24 hours. So the default for them is 60 minutes. And again, I would say that sounds about right. So basically, if somebody tries to log in 10 times and they fail within 60 minutes, then the IP address will get blacklisted. If we go down here, we can actually see the IP blacklist, and we can see all of these different IP addresses have basically failed. And again, to show you when we start talking about things like brute force attacks, so this person was blocked actually yesterday, and you can see 2,341 times they have tried to log in since they have been blacklisted. If we go up here to this other IP address, that's since today, 790 times, 310 times. So this really is the type of thing where it's not like they're trying to log in a couple times and failing. They just want to sit there and keep hammering away at the site. Beyond that, we can go down, we can take a look at the failed logins to try to get an idea of how they're logged in, whose account they're trying to log in under. And so again, this is where I will show you that this is basically what a brute force attack is. This person tried to log in literally with a username of admin with a password of 123456, and a login of admin and a password of admin, and a login of admin and a password of 123123. Admin 123, admin 123456, so on and so forth. So again, this kind of shows you what the brute force attack actually is, and it really is. There's not a lot of intelligence here. It's not like, oh, these hackers are being like really, really smart. They're literally just hammering away at the site, basically until they can get in there somehow. And so this is all the IP blacklist plugin is, and basically what it is it just allows you to automatically protect your site. If you're interested in this particular, it's called the plugin that I'm using is called IP Blacklist Cloud, and again, this type of thing is an invaluable tool. Now we will have classes in the future. Again, there's actually a Python script that's very interesting I saw that will do this for Linux servers. So let's say somebody is trying to do a brute force attack against your SSH or your FTP or any of that kind of stuff. Basically, same concept, a little bit different script, will protect your server in the same way. So if somebody tries to log in with SSH and over 10 times, it will block that IP address. So this is some of the things you have to think about with the modern world of technology. And again, I know a lot of you guys in college, they're still teaching you stuff from 5 years ago. From 5 years ago, the policy used to be you would block or you would disable the username. So eli.etherton at our domain, you would block that. But the thing is with hackers nowadays, if we set it up like that for a cloud-based system, they could then actually create a denial of service attack where they start trying to log in with all these different usernames. They then lock out all of those different users, and again, it takes everything down. So that's some things to think about. But automatic IP blacklisting or banning is an absolutely invaluable tool for the modern world and is a really, really great thing. So there we go, IP Blacklist plugin. Definitely take a look at it. And again, even if you're not using WordPress, think about something like this for your servers, because this is becoming a more and more important thing. And again, the more automated you can make your security, the better. And simply blocking IP addresses is just a very easy way to secure your servers. Altaro.com, Altaro.com, if you're dealing with virtualization in a Hyper-V environment. So we're talking about Windows Server 2008 R2, 2012, and 2012 R2. Take a look at Altaro.com. They have a number of Hyper-V backup solutions. They have the free version, which will back up to 2 VMs for free forever. They also have the unlimited version, starting at only $400 per host. I think this is a very good value. So if you are dealing with Hyper-V virtualization and you need a backup solution, take a look at Altaro.com. Plixer.com. Plixer deals with NetFlow analytics software. So NetFlow is a component of Cisco equipment that shows you what's going on at the network layer, what devices are talking to what other devices, what kind of network jitter, all of that kind of stuff. So Plixer has a free piece of software called Scrutinizer. Scrutinizer is a free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. So if you want to play around with NetFlow, if you want to see what's going on with the network layer and you have Cisco equipment, take a look at Plixer.com. Click on the link below this video. It'll bring you to this page where you can download Scrutinizer, the free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. Total Seminars, TotalSim.com. If you're looking for your A+, your Net+, your Security Plus certification, they have video training, practice test, exam vouchers, and more. If you are on the CompTIA track and you are looking for study prep material, study guides, that type of thing, take a look at Total Seminars, TotalSim.com, TotalSem.com. Veeam.com, Veeam.com. If you just virtualized 100 servers and now you're trying to figure out how to back them up, they have solutions for ESXi, they have solutions for Hyper-V, and as you guys like, they have free stuff. So if you are dealing with a virtualized environment and you're trying to figure out a backup solution, take a look at Veeam.com. NerdsWeCanFixThat.com. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, but you don't want to have to worry about coming up with a logo and copyright and trademark and all of those kinds of things, you may think about buying into a computer services franchise system. Nerds We Can Fix That is a computer services franchise system. They have 62 franchises throughout the United States. They can franchise in every state other than Hawaii. They also franchise internationally. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, you should contact them, fill out the information below, or give them a call. Again, as I will say, franchise systems are great for a lot of people, not so good for others. Always make sure to do your due diligence, but if you're thinking about starting a computer services company anyway, you might as well contact Nerds We Can Fix That to see what they have to say. Spiceworks.com. These guys have the free network management software, the free mobile device management software, the free community with millions of users. So if you're an IT professional and you need support, Spiceworks is a great place to go. All of their stuff is basically free and just an absolutely great thing. Again, if you have any questions that I don't answer in the show that are technical in nature, we're talking about Active Directory synchronization between sites in remote areas. If you click on the link below this video, that will take you to the Spiceworks community. They have millions of users there that will be able to help you out. So take a look at spiceworks.com. So today I'm doing a hands-on review of these nice, beautiful earbuds. And how do I say this name? Is it Mees? Mees? Is that how you say? No, it's not how you say it. Apparently the way you say it is Meze. So basically the folks over at Meze sent me these actually very nice earbuds. But after they sent them to me, they sent me this little audio file on how to say their name. Meze, which if you are a long-time viewer of the show, you know that strikes me as a little bit of a pet peeve, because everybody always screams about how I pronounce things. But oh well, what can I say here? So these guys over at Meze sent me these very, very, very nice earbuds. And so basically the idea, what Meze is trying to do, is they're trying to make the earbuds like a fashion statement. So that's one of the things that you have to think about in the modern world of business, is when everybody can basically produce almost the exact same item, how do you set yourself apart, right? Apple creates earbuds, and Beats creates earbuds, and this people create earbuds, and Samsung creates, everybody creates earbuds, so how can you set yourself apart? And so what they're trying to do over at Meze is to try to make it more high class. So basically all of their headphones and their earbuds and all that, they have hard wood built into them, so they look more, have like a classic design. Now personally, what I like about the earbuds is, and you know that I'm I'm a geek because I think one of the greatest things is this nice little hooky thing they give you for your earbuds, because that's one of the problems I run into in the real world whenever I do like travel for business. I always have my earbuds so I can watch my movies on the flight, and then I always have to shove it into my pocket, or I shove it into my little suitcase thing, and then I always get lost and messed up. And so I have to say that this little hooky thing, the fact that you can put your earbuds in here and then hook it onto your backpack or whatever, I actually think is a really good thing. But let's go over to the demonstration table so I can kind of show you what's going on with these little guys here. So when you buy these Meze headphones or earbuds or whatever, they come in a little box like this, and then you get a nice little pouch. So you basically open up the pouch, and you get your earbuds, and they're all there, and they of course give you the different ear sizes and all that kind of stuff. I was happy to say that I found the size that they gave me works. And then basically when you undo it, you get earbuds. And so you're probably like, yeah, okay, Eli, I don't care. Earbuds are earbuds. But what they're trying to do here is, if we can get a little close-up shot of the earbuds, is what they're doing is they're trying to make all their earbuds and the headsets and all that with this nice wood. And I do have to say the wood looks very nice, and they do a little good quality of building these things. And so it's supposed to be like a higher class earbud. Now I know a lot of you guys probably think that's a joke, and a lot of you guys are like, well, who the hell cares? But again, the clients that you guys are looking for are the ones that do care. You know, I literally had a client of mine who had an elevator in their house. I crap you not, they spent $7,000 for an enterprise class telephone system for their house because they wanted intercom functionality and all that kind of stuff. So when you're dealing with those kind of clients, when you're dealing with clients who have houses that are worth millions of dollars, when they're putting these kind of electronic things in their house, they want stuff that is very pretty, very nice. It doesn't just have to work well, but it also has to look good. And so that's what Meze is trying to do here. And I think they have done a good job with it, because again, if you look at companies like Beats and all these other companies, they have done a very good job of creating headphones and all that for the younger generation, for the millennials. But a lot of like 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds or any of that kind of feel like goofy wearing them. And so the idea here with Meze is that it's supposed to be creating something that's a little more classically designed. You know, you're sitting there with your sipping your bourbon in your very nice house, and you have your Meze headphones in. You know what I'm saying? So I have used them. The headphones, I do have to say, are very nice. Again, I am not an audio aficionado by any stretch of the imagination, but I do use a lot of headphones for what I do, and I do find the sound quality to be very good on them. They look very nice, and so on and so forth. So I give these guys a thumbs up. As far as, you know, things like price and all that go, if we go over, if you're going to look at these things, you go to mezeheadphones.com. You go down to earphones, and it will take you here. So basically, you can read all the information. When you go to the Buy Now button, I think they come out at, let's see, $79, which, again, in some ways seems like a lot of money, but in others, for all this mobile stuff, seems about right. I mean, I think Apple earbuds cost you like $90 or something like that. So you get the whole classical wood design, so on and so forth. You get a good sound quality, all for about $80. So I would argue, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Again, you can go and you can see all of their other headphones here, and again, they really try to put that wood finish in there, which, again, like I say, a lot of the higher end clients really care about. And I know a lot of you guys don't want to hear it. You're in college and you're like, why am I going to spend a little bit of extra money for wood on my headphones? But again, when you are going to a client where they literally have a theater room, I swear to you, I have been in these. I have been to people's houses where they have the theater room, not the TV room, the theater room. So you go in there and all you do is you watch movies, literally. You don't watch, you know, Doctor Who in there. You don't watch ABC News in there. When you go in there, you're there to watch, you know, the next Godzilla or whatever. So those types of people having nice, pretty, beautiful headphones really do matter. So something to think about. So this is Meze. Again, I like them. I give them a thumbs up. I will definitely keep using them since they gave them to me. So yeah, mezeheadphones.com. So this question comes from Marcel R. Is it possible when I have an online VPS Windows Server 2012 to connect local clients from different locations to the server through VPN? So this guy is using a virtual private server. So he doesn't have a server in his house. He's paying the $30 a month or $50 a month or whatever for a virtualized instance of Windows Server 2012. And then what he's wondering is, can he then have his remote clients connect to that VPS server using a VPN service? So when we're talking about VPN in the Microsoft world, the Windows world, we're usually talking about something called routing and remote access server. That's what gives you the VPN functionality. And the question then really with this comes down to what provider are you using? Again, whenever whenever you use a product, normally if you're just saying Windows Server 2012, can you set up a VPN? Yes. That's no problem. If you have a 2012 server, you can set it up in 5 or 10 or 20 minutes. But the thing is, you are now using somebody else's service. So you're using a virtualized instance of Server 2012 that somebody else has root control over, or not really root control over, but you get what I'm saying. So really what you should do is, if you're interested in doing this, is you should contact your service provider and see what they have to say. So I did a little research on this beforehand, and basically some service providers tell you that they have to turn it on manually for you. Some service providers just won't allow it, so on and so forth. So basically, if you're trying to use Windows Server 2012 on a virtual VPS platform for VPN, contact your vendor and see what they have to say. Though what I will say, what I will warn you, just looking at this, is I would question what exactly are you using the VPN for Windows Server 2012, right? Because normally when you use a VPN service, you're getting a lot of other services from your Windows Server. So basically, if you have a Windows Server 2012 box on your premises, people connect using the VPN. But once they connect using the VPN, they then get access to the local files and folders. So they have file sharing. They can then print to the local printer. So they have the printer server. They also get access to Active Directory. So all the permissions and all that kind of stuff. Normally, if they're connecting into a local area network, they'll also then get access to the Exchange server, which is an email server. So basically, they're using the VPN as one small component of all these other services that they're getting. So basically, the VPN is just to connect them to the server, and then they get all this other stuff. So if you're using VPS, the question then becomes, what I start thinking is, you probably don't have an Exchange server up on VPS. I doubt that would be using Active Directory. I'm not sure if VPS you can actually do Active Directory on. So really, about the only thing you could use VPN with a virtual private server for Windows Server 2012 would be something like file sharing, basically as a file server up on the cloud. And if you start thinking, a file server up on the cloud in 2014, there's gotta be a better way of doing that than going through this mess. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be a lot of configuration. This is gonna be, it's gonna have points of failure basically for just doing file sharing. I don't know. So if you really want to set up a VPN on a virtual server, VPS Windows Server, contact your vendor. But what I would say is, there's a lot of red flags here. I would say you probably don't want to do this. This is like an experimental thing. Like, I might create a VPN to a VPS just to play, but I don't think I would do that in the real world. There are so few reasons I would do it in the real world, like maybe to connect to a database or something, but over a VPN, that seems nasty. Again, to a file server, I mean, you can do that, but again, it seems like there's got to be a better solution out there, Box or Dropbox, or there's got to be a better solution. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Contact your service provider, but most likely just rethink what you're doing, because that just seems like all kinds of nastiness right there. So this question comes from Sohrabi. I have a question in relation to subnetting in Class C. Since Class C has 3 octet for network, I don't know exactly how I assign numbers to the third octet. For example, 192.168.x.35 for a 255.255.255.128 subnet. I don't know what numbers I can assign for X. So basically, let me kind of show you guys what this guy is talking about and show you it's kind of a little manky there, right? So he's got 192.168.x.35 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.128. So that is a weird one right here. That basically what he's doing right there is he's splitting a class C subnet. So normally the subnet should be 255.255.255.0, but he's gone all the way down to 128. And basically what that does is it allows you to create two networks within that class C subnet. So what he's asking then is, what do you do about this X? Can this be 1? Can this be 10? Can this be 233? And the answer is yes, really. This number here isn't going to matter, or it does matter, but you can make it whatever you want. So basically, 192.168. Let's say 3.135 or so, that will be on a particular network. So if this was .3, that would be on one network. If it was .4, it would be on a different network. If it was on .20, it would be on a different network still. So basically with the 192.168.x, you could have this be anywhere between 1 to 254, and then go from there. It gets a little more confusing. I did a whole class on subnet masking, so it gets a little more bizarre from there. But that particular octet, that can be anything. The question that I would have is, why the hell are you doing this mess? Like, you guys give me a lot of questions sometimes where it's just like, yeah, you can do that, but it gets really, really, really nasty. So whenever you're dealing with subnetting, right, you have the normal subnet. So you have class A, 255.0.0.0, class B, 255.255.0.0, class C, 255.255.255.0, and those are the normal subnets. Those are the normal classes. And then beyond that, you can start doing all kinds of fancy stuff, and that's what he's doing here. 255.255.255.128 is called splitting that class C subnet. And so what that does is it allows you to have multiple networks within that one class C subnet. So let's say you were given a class C subnet by your organization, and for some reason you wanted to split that up into multiple networks that could not talk to each other. You would then, go in there and you basically split that subnet using like 128 or whatever else. So it is possible, but I do have to say it's one of those things that in the real world you rarely ever do. And if you are doing it, you're probably doing it for bad reasons. Again, there's better ways to do stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. Splitting a class C subnet in the real world when it is not an incredibly niche, very, very, very specific thing. Like, the only way I could see splitting a class C subnet in the real world is if you had like a server farm, and then you were trying to do multiple layers of security. So then you wanted all those servers to be on different subnets so that they couldn't connect to or talk to each other directly, so that they would have to go through routers, so that if a virus did get in there, it couldn't just spread out through your entire data center. Maybe something like that, but again, that would be specifically niche. So in this, if you have a 255.255.255.128 subnet mask, 192.168.x, that X can be anything from 1 to 254.35. So yeah, if that makes any sense. Again, subnet masking is a pain in the ass. So what I would really question you right there is why the hell you're doing that in the first place. But yeah, X can be 1 to 254 if you really want to do it. And what you're doing there, called splitting the a class C subnet, just basically don't do. So the final thoughts for today are that I have, in fact, decided to stop doing the live shows at all. In fact, I am taping this on Friday, and I will not be doing the Friday debrief, the weekly debrief. I won't be doing the daily blobs anymore. I've decided just to go back to more of this episodic concept. So I'll sit down and I will pre-record these videos and go from there. What I have found is I just don't like like the live thing so much. Again, one of the things that the trolls kept saying is that it seemed like I cared far more about my opinions. You know, it's like, oh, you just think you're the stuff. And one of the things that I realized with doing the live shows is it's just too damn opinionated. Like, I don't care about my own opinions as much as it may seem like on the show. It's one of those things, like, when you have 2 hours to fill up of live broadcasting, um, you start having to talk about things you wouldn't necessarily want to talk about or get into. You get into troll arguments, or you discuss this and you discuss that. What I think about Ukraine. I don't care what I think about the Ukraine, but sometimes I would start talking about the Ukraine because, oh crap, I have another hour and 10 minutes to fill up. So what I've decided is I am totally going to be done with the live shows and just going back to this pre-recorded thing. I'm going to be pretty happy with that, I think. So we're going to do the pre-recorded thing. Of course, we've got geekbraindump.com going on, and we have the meetups. The meetups are doing well, so if you do want to come and meet me, you can come to one of our weekly meetups, and we can talk there. But I think that will be a better deal, and I think it'll keep me more insane, and I think it's just a good thing all the way around. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just... I found, like, doing those live shows, the issue that comes up is you sit there and you see the clock, and it's like, oh, I've only used up 50 minutes and I have to use up another hour and 10. What I'm going to talk about? And then somebody would bring up some stupid thing, and then all of a sudden I spend 20 minutes talking about the stupid thing, not because I care about talking about the stupid thing, but I've got to fill up another 20 minutes, and I just don't think that's good for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think that's a good thing. So I think doing these pre-recorded shows with the website, with the meetup, I think that's a good idea. And I've also, that's one thing you have to understand about business is even when you change, you take little parts of what you were doing before to create the new thing. So I was doing classes before, and then we went to the daily blob where we do the topical thing and we do a review and then we do the question and answer. But that was a 2-hour show. But I like that format. I like a topical idea and a review and a question and answer. So then I can take that to this new format. So even though it's pre-recorded, it's still, still a topical idea, it's still a review, it's still a question and answer. And I think that's good. I think it will go from there. So just some of those things to be thinking about when you go into your business. And one thing to keep in mind is if things don't feel right to you, you don't have to keep doing them. That's one of the problems a lot of business people get into. They get into the employee mindset, and as I will tell you, the employee mindset from the business owner mindset, it should be two entirely different worlds. They're literally different ways of looking at life. And the owner mindset, the creator mindset, is what do I want out of life and how will I create that? That is the idea. I want a certain type of lifestyle. How will I create that? Where the employee is much more like, I will do what other people require of me so that I can get paid. And so it's a different thing. And so that's one thing you can get trapped in when you become an owner, a creator, is you start thinking like an employee. And so you create something, let's say that, like I say, the 2-hour daily blob, and it's 90% of what you want or 70% of what you want, but it's not quite perfect. It's not quite exactly what you want. But a lot of times you will keep staying with it simply because you have that employee mindset of I am getting paid to do this, therefore I will keep doing this. And that's what's very, very hard is being an employer, being an owner, being a creator, is you have to look at what you're doing and going, you know what, this is 90% good, but I'm not going to accept anything less than 99. I'm not... You can't get to 100. Getting to 100% perfect, that's probably pretty dangerous. But you can get to 99% perfect. So if you're looking at it and you're like, this is really close to what I want. This is really close to being like the perfect thing in order to get me paid, but it's not quite there. Feel comfortable to change it around. Start doing something different because many times you'll be surprised, A, how successful you'll be, and then you're doing something that you find more enjoyable. So that is my thought. So the 2-hour, the live shows are completely over because, again, I don't care about my opinions that much, to be honest with you. Again, like I say, yes, I am arrogant. Yes, I am egotistical. Yes, I believe I'm a pretty cool guy. But on the other hand, I don't really care what you guys think. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to spend 2 hours a day thumping my chest or whatnot. So that's the final thoughts. The live shows are completely gone. We're going completely to the pre-recorded shows. Why? Because the live shows were 90% of what I wanted, but darn it, I want that additional 9% of coolness, and I think doing the pre-recorded shows will give me that. So the second Geek Happy Hour went very well. So the Geek Happy Hour is kind of like the in-person thing for Geek Brain Dump. And so last Wednesday we had the Geek Happy Hour at On Point and Still in Timonium. And I have to say, 21-year-old Irish whiskey is amazing, isn't it? I have found my new addiction. So we went to Point and Still up in Timonium. We had 9 geeks show up, and after 2 hours, frankly, I left. But still, a number of the geeks were there talking away. So that was a very good time. This Wednesday coming up, we're going to be doing the Geek Happy Hour at the Ropewalk Tavern in Federal Hill, and we will see how it goes. So I am liking this. I am liking the meetup groups. They are still pretty small, but that's actually a good thing. I mean, like, how many people do you actually need to show up for anything? So we go out, we eat some good food, we drink some fabulous alcohol. Let me tell you, guys, if you have not had 21-year-old Irish whiskey, oh, that is just a phenomenal thing. But anyways, again, this is coming up on Wednesday, and hopefully this whole Geek Happy Hour is just going to keep growing, growing, growing.